Hi folks, this is Beth McKinney coming at you from my backyard in Napanee, Ontario. I was the camp director at Kasota East Camp for 8 summers, from April of 1993 through to a very tearful departure in September of 2000. I'm going to start by addressing a few of these questions out of order. The first one I want to talk about is my Kasota role model. This is a hard one for me, Meg, because I had a lot of role models from various ages, either younger than me or older than I. But for the most part, if I had to single out one group of people, that would be board members. My first connection with the camp was through a few board members that I got to know at a national camping conference, and that led to my arrival at Kasota in 1993. When I arrived, I learned that there was a lot more folks who were dedicating lots of time and energy towards making the camp work. Most of these folks were there long before I arrived. Many of them stayed on long after, and some of them arrived even after I left, and I never had the chance to meet. But all of them have one thing in common, and that is they dedicate oodles of energy, countless hours, and tons of talent towards making camp work. Without these folks, camp simply would not be possible. And I would like to personally say thank you for putting your faith in me and putting your faith in the countless young people who have come either before or after me and are making their own little contributions to camp. So that is how I would answer the role model question. You asked for a favorite memory, so I'm going to give you two. First one is a personal memory that was made possible because of my time at KEC. I had always had a lifetime goal of becoming a foster parent, and that is something I started to do in the off season of the year at camp. And that meant that we had an arrival of a young Shannon Marie. And some of you might recall some chubby cheeks in some pictures that you see rolling across your screen right now. And that's how you might remember her. But I've been able to have the opportunity to watch her grow up into this lovely young lady who's currently running the camera for me right now. Shannon, do you want to come and say hello quickly? Hello! There's Shannon. What you not know about Shannon is that every week she and I would take a wander down to Vespers. We would do this whether it was winter or summer, rain or shine. Usually on Sunday afternoons we would go down to Vespers and have some quiet time down there. And I would often say a little prayer to hope, or to say that I hope that she would stay with me, or at the very least find a home that was safe and where she was meant to be. As you know, she was able to stay with me and did become an official member of the McKinney clan. But more importantly, we went back to that Vespers in May of '98, I think it was, and held a baptism for her with our friends and our family from Kasota and from the surrounding community, who had all been a part of watching us become a family together. So that is my favorite personal memory for camp. A favorite camp-related memory. I think I have to. This is a hard one for me because there are so many options, but I'm going to fall back on this one particular summer. Some of you may know or may remember that I was a big fan of a word or a term called emotional stretching, and I used to like it when some folks were faced with a challenge and had to, whether it be a conflict with another staff member or just something that they had to tackle that they weren't confident in, and when you can kind of pull together as a team, or you rise to meet the occasion, and you have that emotional growth, it's really important to me. So one summer I decided I was going to manufacture this for the staff, and at the spring training event I told everyone that they were going to have to come up with a personal goal for the summer. It was something that was going to, that had to scare them a little bit, but it was something that was safe enough and something that they could realistically accomplish during the summer. And we would quietly help to make that happen in whatever way we could. So at training week, when everyone arrived, they had to quietly step into the office with me and declare quietly what that goal was. They didn't have to share it with anyone else, but I and probably my assistant director at the time knew what it was, and we would make sure that the opportunities were there for them to reach the goal. A lot of people chose things like getting up and performing somewhere. There was a few folks that wanted to go spend a night in the woods by themselves. There was some canoe trips. There was all sorts of different kinds of goals. A couple of really neat things happened during that summer. The first one was, even though this goal was meant to be something that they declared quietly to myself and to my partner at the time, we found that most of the people on the staff shared their goal with the rest of the team. So as the summer progressed, they weren't having to be accountable just to me or just to my assistant director, but they were having to be accountable to others for meeting that goal. And the others were all stepping in and trying to find ways to support them and encourage them, and that was really fun to see. The other thing that happened is that inevitably there was a couple of people that would put it off. So the last week of camp was a busy week for wrapping up some of those goals. One young lady in particular really had a heart. She wanted to perform at a final Vespers or a final talent show at the camp. And all summer long she was given the opportunity to do so. As we headed into the final week of camp, I spoke to her and said, "This is your last weeks. This is when you're going to get up and perform. And if you don't, then I'm automatically going to put your name on the list to perform at the banquet," which was a little bit higher stakes at the time. So I don't think she believed I would do that. Inevitably, that is what happened. And at banquet night, when she arrived, I said, "You look really good. I'm so excited to see you perform tonight. Here's where you're going to be in the list." She wasn't very happy with me. She got up and sang beautifully, I might add. And at the end of the night, we said our goodbyes, and I thought I maybe had pushed a few buttons. About 2 months later, I got a letter in the mail from her to say that she had written an essay to talk about a life lesson that she had learned over the course of the summer, and she had to turn this in for a school assignment, and she wanted to share it with me. And the essay was beautifully written and talked about how much that goal had meant to her and how much she was proud of herself for having met that goal. So that was an example of one of the magical things that can happen at camp, and one of the things that I'm quite proud of. So one of my favorite memories for sure. So you asked what it is about Kasota that stands the test of time, and I think I would have to say that it starts with the safe environment that we created back there, and that I'm sure you continue to create, and most summer camps do, to be honest. It's the kind of place that meets people where they are, whether it be an emotional thing or just in where they are in their growth. It gives young people permission to be themselves and to ask questions and seek answers like they haven't before. It gives them permission to try and to fail and try again. And it shows examples of what's possible, whether it be diversity or creativity or just their own personal strength. It introduces young people to who they're meant to be or who they're going to be, and it respects them for who they are when they're there. And if you're doing it right, then it's a breeding ground for personal growth. And I think that's what stands the test of time for camp. My wish for Kasota is, first and foremost, I hope that you don't feel you need to make changes just for the sake of making changes, but instead you let the circumstances and what the world is telling you and what your people are telling you, and not be afraid of making changes that are needed at the time. And that's how you progress forward. no matter what you do, I want for everyone to always put people first in the scenario. Look out for your campers, look out for the families, look out for your staff. And when they're first in the scenario and you're thinking through everything, then it should work out well. And will always continue to be that safe place that we know and love about Kasota. With that in mind, I wish you very well in the future and with this project here today. And I'm saying farewell from Napanee, from Shannon and I. Bye.